Good evening, this is your AI host, Jay. I'm here with the automatically generated Journato evening headlines on August 8, 2022. Weather tracker, no relief as heatwaves continue in parts of Europe and China. Cycling growth in UK at risk of being left behind by Europe, experts warn. A slow Highlands adventure, new laid-back holidays to benefit people and planet. The Guardian, the Wanderlist, slow travel around Ireland and a Grecian getaway. Trump News, live, ex-president sought totally loyal generals like Nazis as pics show flushed documents. The Independent, Lofgren reacts to Trump's CPAC poll numbers. CNN, Trump once again dominates CPAC 2024 presidential straw poll. Bloomberg, Trump's 108-minute CPAC speech is branded unapologetic fascism with blood and soil rhetoric. The Independent, Trump wins CPAC straw poll in Dallas. The New Normal, how Europe is being hit by a climate-driven drought crisis. The Guardian, very critical situation, almost half of EU countries suffering from drought. Sky News, Europe battles water shortages as severe drought sweeps the continent. Financial Times, Europe's worst ever drought, in pictures, environment. Trump tried to flush documents down White House toilet, new photos show. The Independent, report confirms Trump habit that was bad for plumbing and his presidency. CNN, photos show handwritten notes that Trump apparently ripped up and attempted to flush down toilet. Polar bear killed after injuring woman at Svalbard campsite. The Guardian, polar bear killed after attacking French tourist on Norway's Svalbard Islands. COVID outbreak traps almost 100,000 tourists in Chinese resort. The Independent, tens of thousands stuck in China's Hawaii after COVID lockdown imposed. Sky News, China resort lockdown, escaping to Sanya only to face fresh curbs. BBC, over 80,000 tourists stranded in China's Hawaii after COVID-19 flare-up. The Independent, Sanya lockdown traps tens of thousands of tourists in China's Hawaii. Bomb found by fishermen in Italy's drought-hit Rover Po defused and blown up in quarry. Sky News, Second World War bomb discovered in Italy's dried-up River Po. The Guardian, World War II bomb found in dried river detonated by Italian army. The Independent, army detonates bomb found in dry Italian river. As Kenya prepares for a presidential election, why some Kenyans are campaigning for both sides. Sky News, a crucial African election arrives. Financial Times, Kenya presidential candidates hold final rallies. Reuters, the frontrunners in Kenya's presidential election, World News. Sky News, for presidential candidates in Kenya's election, musicians play a key role. Brawl as Mexican President Manuel Lopez Obrador visits scene where 10 miners remain trapped after 5 days underground. Colombia's first leftist president says war on drugs has failed. The Guardian, Colombia's new president Gustavo Petro sworn into office, BBC News. BBC News, Colombia's first leftist president says the war on drugs has failed as he is sworn into office. The Independent, the challenges for Latin America's new left. Financial Times, U.S. must end the failed drugs war, Colombia's new president Gustavo Petro urges. How dangerous is the situation at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant? The Guardian, Ukraine News Live, UN chief warns nuclear power plant strikes a suicidal thing, as 2 grain ships leave Black Sea ports. Sky News, Russia-Ukraine war, Moscow-controlled Zaporizhzhia set for vote on joining Russia, UN chief calls for access to nuclear plant, live. The Guardian, Putin's recklessness should alarm us all. The Telegraph, fighting around Ukraine nuclear plant suicidal, says UN. Israel-Gaza, ceasefire holds overnight after days of violence. BBC, ceasefire between Israel and Palestinian militants comes into effect. Evening Standard, ceasefire takes effect after 3 days of violence in Gaza. Wales Online, Gaza death toll rises as Israel kills second top militant, BBC News. BBC News, ceasefire between Israel and Palestinian Islamic Jihad holds overnight. As Russian missiles struck Ukraine, Western tech still flowed. Reuters, Russian spies setting up clandestine networks to source military kit from the West. The Telegraph, Russian weapons used against Ukraine contain Western electronics. The Times, tank explodes in Ukraine's Kharkiv region following Javelin strike. The Independent, Russia says it shot down 19 HIMARS missiles, destroyed vehicles. This was all for the news. Thanks for listening. Please do not forget to like and subscribe.